Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Bayou Bets for Monday, October the 31st. Happy Halloween. See, I thought I had the good idea, and then Jim went and had to one-up me, as usual.
I'm actually Halloween. What are you?
I'm an alien.
Well, you're an alien anyway.
Fair enough. Okay, but mine lights up, so.
I'm the fattest skeleton on the planet.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Beat that one, buddy.
But we shall see who picks winners. I don't think we can actually do that for the whole show. I can't.
Probably not.
I get this little red mark on my forehead from the control panel when I wear that mask. So
my ears start hurting. My ears start hurting, kind of like when you start talking about fourth downs.
Well, just you wait. We have a good show for you today on Halloween before you go out trick-or-treating with the kids. This is Bayou Bets, brought to you by Caesar Sportsbook. If you haven't joined up, it's a great time to do it. Great time for sports. First bet on Caesars up to $1,250. Use promo code NOLAFULL for that, or just go to NOLA.com/Caesars. And I'll tell you what, speaking of new things, the Saints gave us a good performance yesterday. I'm not quite sure how to approach that because even in their first two wins, there were like things to nitpick. There wasn't a whole lot to nitpick about this game yesterday. I got the wrong thing up there, but the Saints beat the Raiders 24-0. And the defense looked fantastic. Andy Dalton did what he was supposed to do, and then obviously Alvin Kamara carried the freight.
Yeah, it was quite the performance. You know, I couldn't believe just how well the defense did. That was the biggest shock. I mean, Kamara, I kind of figured that was coming, a big day for him. He was due. You know, hadn't scored a touchdown yet. Ended up with 3 yesterday. But the defense pitching a shutout, I couldn't believe that, considering how much talent the Raiders have. I mean, they just made Derek Carr look silly. Devontae Adams only caught 1 pass for 3 yards. Josh Jacobs under 50 yards. That shocked me.
Jim?
Well, I'm not trying. I don't want to.
You're going to nitpick, aren't you?
No, I'm not going to nitpick. I think they played their best game since the Tampa Bay 9-0 win. But I mean, where did this come from? Where has this been all year? Why does it? You mean middle of the season? You're now going to give me the effort that we thought we were going to see. You know, all the media peeps and us bettors and all who picked the over 7.5 wins. Now you want to show up? I mean, I'm glad you showed up now and not in week 16, I guess. But what took so long? I mean, did Pete Carmichael go back and read Sean Payton's Cliff Notes? I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, wow, what a concept! Give the ball to Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill, and don't let Dalton do anything stupid. What a concept! It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I will say when you don't make stupid penalties and especially turnovers, everything else looks a lot better, right? Like, I mean, they had some other games where, like the Vikings game, perfect example. I thought they actually played pretty well in that game, but you make a couple of crucial mistakes. There's a couple of penalties in bad situations, and all of a sudden everything is soured. We didn't have that on Sunday. Everything was clean. There were no turnovers. There was no penalties. And so this is sort of what you get in the NFL if you're a top half team and you play a clean game. Now, of course, to your point, Jim, can they do it again and again and again, which is what they're going to need to do?
2 things, Zach, that kind of make me – I'm not taking anything away. Again, the Saints played their best game since the 9-0 win over Tampa. Not taking anything away, but 2 things to be a little bit nervous about, to not get so excited about this game. Look, I get excited, I guess, because 3-5 certainly beats the hell out of 2-6. But 2 things. The refereeing crew that they had yesterday is typically a crew that doesn't call a lot of penalties anyway. I wrote this in my trends column on Sunday morning. They only throw like 4 flags on a team per game. So we kind of saw that yesterday, right? They didn't throw a whole lot of flags. It's not unexpected. So if you get a crew that's not so much like this Scott Novak crew, it's going to be a little bit different. Second, and I think way more important, I don't think any of us have a clue of how much the flu bug that was going around the Raiders locker room, obviously it affected Devontae Adams yesterday. I think there was some things going on, and then they got to fly across country while they're sick. I'm not making any excuses. You don't make it past the 50-yard line until the 2-minute warning, and with your starters going, you only have 119 yards up to the 2-minute warning. That is one hell of a defensive performance, not taking anything away. I'm just saying be a little bit wary about being super excited about the Saints' performance because there were certainly extenuating circumstances that could, let's say, make you concerned that if a really good team comes in here, that it might not be as easy. Let's say him do that against Lamar Jackson, then maybe I'll be a little bit more convinced.
Yeah, speaking of which, next Monday night, Saints get the extra day here this week, and they get to stay at home. Of course, the Ravens get 3 extra days. They played on Thursday Night Football. Ravens only -3, Spencer. Opening line here a little light to you, or you think that's on the money?
Oh, that's very light, especially now with the news that they just acquired a Pro Bowl linebacker from the Bears, Roquan Smith. That's a game changer there. That to me now makes them where they should be like a 4 or 5 point favorite. So kind of wish I'd have bet on that yesterday when I saw the line had come out in the evening. I was like, man, that could be a value. Although we didn't know they were going to get Roquan. So it's
you can still get it at 3. I mean,
in
really? Fact,
okay, yeah,
it was fine last week.
Great value. And I'm not trying to rain on the Saints parade because they did play way better, and I definitely think this could be a sign of things to come, that they could end up stealing the South. But for this week, though, I don't like the matchup. Lamar Jackson, the Saints struggle against mobile QBs, and now that they've got Roquan to shore up their defense, the Saints gonna have to win the turnover battles by multiple turnovers, in my opinion, in order to win the game.
Actually, the line has moved ever so slightly in the Saints' favor. The +3 is now -120 at Caesars, and that money line, Baltimore's now -155 on the money line. So
this line was 5 last week. It was 5.
Maybe they figure Roquan's not going to be ready or something. Maybe that's why it hadn't really moved.
Lines don't move really on a defensive player like that. Very rarely. Lines move on a stud receiver, a stud running back, or any starting quarterback. Other than that, lines don't move all that much on
and this
like
one,
that.
I think, moved because the Saints, like you said, played their best game by far of the year, Jim. And so a little more respect. Plus, maybe Michael Thomas comes back finally next week. I mean, that could be. Listen, I'm right there with you. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it, but maybe it's in the offing.
Maybe he'll dress up as a football player for Halloween. Who knows?
The other bit of good news: the Saints got the Bucs lost on Thursday Night Football. Falcons should have lost at home. I mean, we can talk about that game in a minute, but that was a crazy game. The Panthers missed 2 game-winning kicks, and so we almost had that 4-way tie in the NFC South. As it is right now, the Falcons are in first place. Still a pretty high number on New Orleans here, Jim.
Barstool Sports says Eddie. They called him Eddie Dinero instead of Pinero. Eddie Dinero was not money.
No, he went broke. Yeah,
he definitely went broke. I still think there's value in I mean, it's even ridiculous. Even more ridiculous now that the Panthers are plus 3,300. I mean, that's insane. This division stinks. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, it would surprise me if the Panthers won, but it wouldn't shock me. I don't know. If you have a crystal ball and you can tell me who's going to win this division, please let me know. I really don't think it's going to be the Bucs. Therefore, I mean, maybe a little. You probably already bet on the Saints, I would guess, when they had better numbers. And the Falcons now at 240. I mean, I know that's a bad number, but I mean, I think they're the best team in the division right now. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean,
they should have lost that game yesterday. I mean, there's no.
I'm not saying they shouldn't have lost. Who's better than them? The Bucs are terrible. Don't tell me Tampa Bay's going to win this division.
The Bucs have a lot of injuries. If the Bucs can
I'll
get
give
healthier,
you the Bucs and you give me everybody else. How about that? I'll take the field. I mean, we're just going to add up to more bets. I mean, we already got a bet on that.
We've already got enough. And I'm down with Jacksonville. Those idiots. So I think I'll pass on that.
Damien says he knows Atlanta's going to win. I don't know if you mean the division or the game yesterday, but some of these results. And look, I don't know. I mean, the Falcons were outplayed.
There's only one team playing with heart right now. One team in this division playing consistently with heart, and that's the Atlanta Falcons.
That's fair.
Do they have the talent of the Saints or the Bucs? No, they don't have the talent of the Saints or the Bucs. But I'd rather have a team that's playing its ass off than a team that's just like kind of showing up every other week or not showing up or getting divorces and yelling at his players and throwing tablets. I mean, come on. I mean, seriously. I mean, at least Atlanta's fun to watch.
I mean, they might. Now, they got outplayed from minute 1 to about minute 58 yesterday,
Agreed.
Then came back and won. and honestly should have lost anyway when DJ Moore gets penalized 15 yards for taking his helmet off, and he was actually not even on the field.
You say they should have lost, but I mean that's a miracle play for them to even get. Come on.
I mean, but what I'm saying is that's true. But what I'm saying is Carolina outplayed them before that for the entire game.
Their defense wasn't.
I'm not
Carolina's
sold on the
defense.
Falcons. I'm not sold on the Falcons at all. Now
Not
that
sold
doesn't
on
mean
any
they
of
can't
them.
win. No,
I'm
that's
not sold
true.
on any of them.
Look, if divisions are Halloween candy, right? Like the AFC West is your Reese's peanut butter cups,
and Whoppers.
The NFC East is like some good like dark chocolate, and the NFC South is those little orange and black candies that everybody just throws away and never opens.
The Panthers are Twizzlers, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. And see, Uncle Big Nick says that was an awful penalty. Like, I assume you mean the call, Nick, because I don't see you change the game with a call like that. If he's taunting somebody, if he's over on the Falcons sideline starting a fight, by all means, flag him. He took his helmet off. He wasn't even in the end zone anymore. He walked off the field.
On a crazy once a career play, maybe, or twice a career play.
That's just terrible situational officiating. And it cost the Panthers. Now you can still make the kick. You could have made the kick in overtime. But I just don't understand that. So elsewhere around the NFL in week 8, guys, not a lot of upsets. This was really the first week where things went pretty much according to plan. I know we were all on Green Bay last night, got that nice backdoor cover going for us.
Sir.
What else stuck to you?
My bet of the year. I mean, I don't understand why people didn't jump on this with me. And I know, there were some people on it, but it was my bet of the year. I'm going to say this. I bet 4 units. I don't bet 4 units on anything. Okay. Because I asked Uncle Big Nick. He gets on me all the time because I'm way too conservative. I don't bet like I should, especially when, not to toot my own horn or anything, when I'm 28-12 in my best bets. I mean, I should be betting more.
Not to toot your own horn.
Not to toot my own horn or anything. But anyway, I put 4 units on New England. To me, that was the easiest bet. And look, that score was way closer than the game really was. And even if you looked at halftime when the Jets were winning, the stats were incredibly weighted towards New England. There was no doubt in my mind. I should have gone and put more money on it at halftime because there was zero doubt in my mind that New England was winning that game. Bill Belichick owns the Jets, Jets. And after losing on Monday night, that made it even easier. I'm not kidding. That was, and I said it during Best Bets, it was the bet of the year.
Spencer, takeaways for you from week 8.
Yeah, it was actually overall, like, it was kind of a rough week for me because of the fact that they had a lot of favorites. I've been rolling with the dogs, but my best bet hit, kind of like Jim was saying, his bet of the year. I kind of had that same feeling about the Titans game, and even though Malik Willis had the start, that didn't concern me because I felt like Derrick Henry would just be able to carry the load, and sure enough, over 200 yards, 4 of his last 5 outings now against the Texans, he's put up over 200 rushing yards. It's like, that's not even fair. Texans are just like, man, we just might as well just forfeit if Derrick Henry's on the field. The
Texans' offense was awful also. Like, I mean, you talk about scary. I don't know what their offense has been better than that all year long.
Davis Mills ain't it. Pierce is good, he'll be good for a while, but they're probably going to get first pick of the draft and take CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, or maybe even Hendon Hooker. Just did that piece on him now being the Heisman favorite.
Oh, they're not going to take. They got Malik Willis. They're not going to take Hendon Hooker.
No, the Texans.
Oh, the Texans. I thought you meant
because they're gonna probably lose all the rest of their games.
I'm like, why would they want Hendon Hooker?
Hendon Hooker, I don't think is a number 1 pick. To me, that's a mistake. That's
Bryce
senior year.
Bryce Young's the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Well, Stroud. I mean, you could make it. I'd say it's still either going to be Young or Stroud.
Don't take an Ohio State quarterback.
Justin Fields is the
He's
truth.
terrible.
Have you been watching the game?
Yes, he's awful. He's ranked like 30th.
He has an awful offensive line.
He has the worst offensive line and worst set of receivers in football.
Okay, you can have Justin Fields all you want. He's terrible. I don't know what you need to see to know that he's terrible. He's terrible.
He's still a little inconsistent.
Everyone's terrible.
Okay, well, the people who know what they're talking about at PFF, I think he's ranked. He's either graded like 30th or 31st, something along those lines.
The whole Ohio State thing. I mean, there's different players.
Name me an Ohio State quarterback that was any good ever.
What does Craig Krenzel have to do with Justin Fields? Have to do with C.J. Stroud?
Name me one worthy Ohio State quarterback that did anything.
There was never Joe Burrow. There was never a worthy LSU quarterback until Joe Burrow. So all it takes is the right
Burt
player.
Jones?
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess if we're going to go way back.
Well, I mean, you're going way back with whoever the hell you're talking about. I don't even know who the hell that is.
Craig Krenzel was their national championship quarterback in 2002.
I don't.
So I'm not going back to Burt Jones.
Well, you're going back to your youth. I'm going back to mine.
Yeah, you are.
I mean,
tonight's game, as we move on here on Bayou Bets, brought to you by Caesar Sportsbook. Bengals at Browns. We're on opposite sides of this game, so we're going to keep yelling at each other, I think. Bengals, no Jamar Chase. I still like them here. And I know Jim's going to call me Aunt Mabel and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there you go. But the Browns defense was their calling card coming into the year. Has been legitimately awful. Awful. And I know your point is that the Bengals running defense isn't good. The Browns running defense is worse than the Bengals, and their passing defense is even worse.
And the Bengals can't run. That's the difference. Joe Mixon,
but the Browns passing defense is even worse than that. So how are the Browns going to stop them?
Let me just ask this question: How are you coming along with your fruitcakes? So have you made enough of them, Mabel? I mean, the pecan pies, are they coming out good? Brownies?
Ooh,
we're gonna have a good time Thursday. Bengals? I was Bengals. I mean, I was thinking Mabel might be on the Browns because no. I mean, with the Jamar Chase news, a lot of times the public tends to overreact to stuff.
Mabel's all over the Bengals.
Interesting. Well, yeah, probably because Joe Burrow has gotten so much hype lately. But yeah, this is one I stayed away from it in best bets. I don't know what.
What about in real life, Spence?
I mean, if I had to pick, I'd probably take the points with Cleveland though, because I mean, without Chase.
We're all degenerates here, so I mean, we all know that we're going to bet something on tonight. I mean, I've already bet. made my bet like 4 days ago.
Actually, I bet.
If I had T. Higgins over on yards, that's my play for tonight. Because the Browns still don't have Denzel Ward. They've been giving up a lot of chunk plays. Mike Williams, similar receiver to T. Higgins, absolutely torched them. So I'm thinking that Higgins, he's probably gonna go for 100 plus. But it's like outside of him, though. I mean, who else is gonna step up? I know they have Tyler Boyd. But the losing Chase is
Hayden Hurst, baby.
Hayden Hurst over 3.5 receptions. Take a look at that one.
It. I actually like that.
But look, I mean, seriously, my question, Jim, is forget Aunt Mabel for a minute.
All right.
What sort of faith do you have in the Browns defense right now? They haven't stopped anybody, and they didn't stop Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. They're going to stop Joe Burrow.
I don't think they're outstanding, but the Browns have had the Bengals number, winning 4 in a row and 7 out of the last 8. Certain teams have certain teams number. We saw it yesterday with the Niners and the Rams. Do I think that the Rams are that much worse than the Niners? No. I mean, they're not playing great right now either, but I mean, certain teams have certain other teams' numbers, and I'm a trends guy, and so it's not just. And I hear what you're saying. I just don't think that Joe Burrow his crutch is gone. Okay. He has had games where he struggled. He struggled in the early part of the season. Joe Mixon is doing nothing. And I mean, one-dimensional teams against a team like this, I think can pick it up for a game. I like the under. Okay, I'm not betting it. So you like the over. That's the bet you made, right?
I actually earlier in the week had Bengals -3. That was before the Chase news came out, so I'm stuck with that one. But I also have the over 45.
I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, I'm not going to play a total at all in this one. My totals have been mediocre at best this week, which is unusual. But I don't see how they're going to stop the Browns. Nick Chubb's going to run he might run for 160, 170 yards tonight.
I mean, that makes sense unless the Bengals go out and pop them in the mouth and it's 14-0. And then the run game all of a sudden, I mean, you can try it in the first half.
Well, here's what I would suggest. I think if you like then going along your logic, which I don't think your logic is flawed. It's a logic that you came through your analysis. But I would say this: if you like the Bengals and you like what you're saying, then I think maybe Bengals first half is a better bet than Bengals for the game.
Look who is on my side.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Look, stick to your lane. Stay in your lane, Devin. Your lane is college football.
And Uncle Big,
stay out of your lane. You stay out of mine.
The Browns could win a shootout. That's why I'm more on the over than I'm on the Bengals. I just don't think they're going to stop. And even if the Browns get out to a lead and try to run the ball, and Nick Chubb does run for 160 yards, Bengals are going to score at least 21 points in this game. The over 45.
They said that about the Raiders yesterday too.
It's going to hit.
I think the factor that a lot of people are forgetting about with the Browns is that their secondary is awful, but they've still got a good pass rush. I mean, Myles Garrett's an elite edge rusher. I believe Jadeveon Clowney's back. Bengals O-line, as we know, has issues. So they could
It
get
hasn't.
to Joe Burrow, sack him 3 or 4 times.
Yes,
That
they
might
have.
be the difference.
They have had issues. They just didn't. Not the last couple games. And
No,
see,
what I'm saying is that pass rush has not helped the Browns
okay.
at all this year.
That the Bengals O-line has been, except for the
Well,
last
this
couple
could be
games.
their night. This could be their get right night because the Bengals O-line is not very good.
I actually think it's better than it was last year. It's still.
Yeah,
kind of an issue,
last year it was abysmal. Yeah. This year it's probably more like below average.
I'm gonna tell you another reason why I like the under. And again, I don't love the under, so I'm not advocating to go play it. But if this turns into the game that I think it's going to be, and it's going to be a Nick Chubb 160 something yards, and Kareem Hunt also gets 70 or 80, which I think is possible. I think it's going to be grinding out the clock, and there's not going to be enough opportunities to score, which is another reason why I like under. But again, I'm not saying you're wrong about your pick, Zach. I just think that if you like Cincinnati, I think it ought to be a first half bet because I think they're going to jump out in front. I think that'd be more of a first half bet.
And that's fair. I mean, I do think that's a fair point. Like I said, I bet Cincinnati before the Chase news came out. I still like them. I'm curious to see how that affects them because, as Spencer mentioned earlier in this week, they're not the most deep team at receiver, and so we'll see, beyond Higgins and
the other
Boyd
Mike Thomas.
The other Mike Thomas will get some targets, and so I'm curious to see how that offense looks in the first game without him. And so I am thinking about taking the Bengals in Survivor next week against Carolina, and so I'll be watching carefully, flipping between that in the World Series after getting back from trick or treating.
The Browns are a Jekyll and Hyde kind of team is the problem. So it's hard to bet them. That's why I almost made this a best bet. And I'm like, you really can't make the Browns a best bet because you don't know what you're going to get. It's kind of like making the Saints a best bet. You can tease them because they're always going to be close. Saints are a great teaser team. The Browns, you just don't know. But I think the familiarity with this team and the fact that they've won, again, 4 in a row and 7 out of 8, I think to me that is a reason to play the Browns. I
mean, I hear what you're saying on trends. I really do. But 7 out of 8. The Bengals 8 games ago against the Browns.
I don't disagree. I know
were completely.
But I mean,
different.
4 in a row with Burrow. I mean, although he tore his ACL.
2 of them with Burrow. 2 of them with Burrow. Yeah, I mean, or maybe 3 when he was a rookie. But yeah, I mean, 7 out of 8 means very, very little to me. You're watching Bayou Bets here on bet.nola.com and the Bayou Bets YouTube channel. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button for us.
Don't forget about our newsletter.
Tune it in. NOLA.com/Bayou Bets will get you that newsletter sign up as well. Get in your inbox 6 days a week. Want to switch gears and talk a little college football. Both LSU and Tulane were off this week. Ragin' Cajuns played Thursday, and frankly, probably wish they were off, Spencer.
Yeah, that was rough.
So here's
how about Mizzou?
Mizzou beat South Carolina.
Yeah.
Mizzou's actually, they're not.
You gave them no credit at all.
I did. And look, they have not lost a game. They lost 1 game to K-State in the pouring rain by a bunch. And K-State, as we'll see here in a minute, looks very good.
They whooped up on the doors.
Every other game that they've played has been within 8 points. So Mizzou not as bad as I thought. There's that game in the middle. K-State 48-0 over Oklahoma State. And the one below it, of course, Tennessee making a big-time statement leading into their showdown with Georgia this week, guys.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That Tennessee win, we talked about that being a bad spot for them. They don't care.
It did not bother them at all.
Look, I said about 3 weeks ago, I said right before the LSU game, I said this might be the best team that's not going to make the playoff. I mean, I at this point, I don't even care as long as they keep it close with Georgia. If they keep it close with Georgia, lose, go to the end, don't make the SEC championship, you can't keep them out of the playoff. I mean, the only way you're going to be able to keep them out of a playoff is if Georgia barely beats them, and then Georgia loses to Alabama in the SEC championship.
And you're not going to have 3 SEC.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a tough decision to make. But, man, Tennessee, and I don't even know who I'm going to pick yet. Tennessee and Georgia, what a fascinating matchup, because Georgia's defense is not playing as well as Georgia's defense we know it can play. So this is a fascinating matchup to me.
Yeah,
Spencer, what stuck out to you from Saturday's action?
Yeah, then the Ohio State-Penn State game was interesting. Penn State, that was.
Just got the cover.
Yeah, yeah, they covered.
Listen, that would have been a brutal beat for those of us who had Penn State plus 15.5 because they were winning that game in the fourth quarter. And then Ohio State, not that it's a surprise Ohio State comes back and wins, but then they get the pick six and they're covering, and oh God, don't do this to me. But Penn State did get the garbage time touchdown. So,
and Devin Jackson was probably sweating Central Michigan and Liberty or something along those lines this week.
Devin, what were you sweating this week?
Maybe
buddy?
Central Connecticut or something along those lines. I don't know.
So
Harvard.
Anyway, well, Devin lets us know that this sets up it's certainly the best weekend of the year in the SEC, if not the entire country. No, and Uncle Big Nick, I put this up there too. It was TCU -7, and they won by 10 on a 30-yard touchdown pass with like 10 seconds left. Why are you even throwing the ball? What are you guys doing?
That'll be
but
on
they
Scott
won the game
Van Pelt
41-31. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But it does set up, as I said, probably the best weekend of the year, certainly in the SEC. Tennessee, Georgia at 2:30. Tennessee, I believe, is an 8-point dog in Athens. And then in Baton Rouge Saturday night, LSU, Alabama.
There you go.
This line's been moving toward LSU all week, guys. I mean, it's down. It was 17, then it was 14.
Keep on coming down, baby.
13.
Keep on coming down. It can't get low enough for me because
You wanna bet it
Alabama's
the other
going
way?
to beat the living hell out of LSU. I'm an alum. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. And all the people have been that went silent about Jaden Daniels and Brian Kelly. They'll be all back this week. The social media geniuses will be back in force, telling you how much Jaden Daniels and Brian Kelly stink because they're just going to get whooped up on by Alabama, and then they'll win their last 3 games and they'll be fine.
Jeez.
All right. Listen, I will say this. I think it's going to be a no play for me. I haven't thought enough about it yet. But the emotion in Tiger Stadium is going to be at a peak. And that sometimes can be enough to keep a home team in a game. Alabama has not been nearly as impressive on the road this year. That's not normally a Nick Saban problem, but you think about their loss to Tennessee. You think about their close call, probably should have lost at Texas early in the year. Not quite the same level of dominance we're used to, Spencer.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it'd probably be a no play for me too. But if I had to play it, I'd take the points at LSU because I'm not really confident in Alabama
I'll book
right
it
now.
for you without
This
the
doesn't. This. Oh my God. This doesn't. My point though is like this doesn't. I mean, what has Alabama done this year that's made that you're like, wow, this is the usual Alabama? I mean, they haven't really. I mean, Bryce Young was supposed to be once again in the Heisman discussion. He's now like fallen off. I mean, now it's Hendon Hooker and C.J. Stroud. Not that Bryce Young stunk.
Bryce Young got hurt. I mean, that's not.
And then
totally
he missed
fair.
the game, or yeah. So it's like, I don't think this Bama team was quite as good as we were thinking. I mean, they struggled with. Then they struggled with A&M, and A&M is horrible. So I think they could end up winning by more than this. You know, they could cover definitely. I mean, they're way more talented than LSU, obviously, but the way LSU's been playing lately, it wouldn't shock me if they give them a game.
Nick Saban loves to beat LSU. I remember a few years ago, Joe Burrow against Alabama in Tiger Stadium, and it was a miserable game to be at. I think it was 29-0, and it was not even that close.
This may be one, Jim, that you play live. I mean, LSU has been, without a doubt, a second-half team. So this is one, like with the Ole Miss game, you kind of keep an eye on, see how the first quarter and a half goes. Could be some opportunities there.
Normally, I would say yes, and if you like LSU, then I would say then that's probably not a bad idea. But if you like Alabama, the problem is that they jump out to the lead that I think they're going to jump out to. You're not going to be able to get the value on Alabama that I think you need to get. So if you like LSU, sure, wait. And see. If you're not sure, wait and see. But I probably won't be playing this live. I mean, and I've done well with LSU live. We all have, really. But this isn't that kind of game. I agree with Uncle Big Nick. I think that it's going to be a lot like Tennessee. I don't think LSU matches up well with the upper echelon teams. I think they match up with teams that are just above them and around them, which is why they've played the Ole Misses of the world well, why they played Mississippi State well, why I think they'll play well against Arkansas and Texas A&M, because those are teams that are around them. But the teams that are upper echelon, they're just not ready for that yet. They will be next year. They're just not ready for it right now. And that's why I just don't like LSU in this game at all. And it's not to say anything against – I think what Brian Kelly has done with his team is nothing short of phenomenal. And honestly, I didn't know if they would win 7 games this year, and I think 7 wins is almost a shoo-in now. So I think the progression. This is a rebuilding year. People keep forgetting that. Just because they're 5-2 doesn't mean it's not it is. It's still a rebuilding year.
6-2.
6-2. Sorry.
Yeah.
So the fact that they've got to where they are already is amazing. But
and they'll win that 7th game against UAB, and then Arkansas A&M. You figure you at least split those two, and that's 8
minimum.
wins. So
at the minimum,
yeah.
And then so they have a good chance to be playing on New Year's Day.
Well, yeah, I think January 2nd. I think.
Yeah,
New Year's Day is a Sunday.
It's a Sunday. You're right. You know what I mean.
But Devin, by the way, I played that too. That was in my best bets column. So I guess
I was close.
I should have felt good that we were on Temple Navy together. I need by the way, Devin's in Philly now. I need Temple to get another win. I have them over 2.5 wins for the season. Lost that one in overtime. All right, moving on. Tulane plays on Saturday as well at 11 a.m. The Greenies, the only undefeated team in the American Athletic Conference.
No respect.
And 7.5-point chalk at Tulsa.
No respect. I mean, Tulane should be an 11, 12-point favorite.
Yeah,
there should be at least an 11 or 12-point favorite. Tulane's kind of like take the over. Devin says, "Okay, 58.5. I'm going to go put a bet on it as soon as we get off the show here." But Tulane should be way more than 11. I think this is great value, even at 7.5. And I know people don't like to play those 7.5 numbers that they get you sometimes, but I think that's a lot of value in the green wave.
Maybe parlay the wave in the over. I might do that.
Yeah, why not?
Could be. Yeah. Nice little payoff. Other thing going on this week, of course, is the World Series as we roll on Bayou Bets. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, go to our Bayou Bets YouTube page. Kyle's here.
I'm surprised he showed up today.
Kyle, listen, the Saints are 3-5. I need to know your predicted record now.
Well, I mean, yeah, because he already said he was 15-2, and then he was
2-15. So now
2-15.
Is it 12-5 or what?
No, he's going to go. He's got to be like 8-9.
We'll see what he says. In the meantime, the World Series continues tonight in Philly. It's going to be fun to watch that crowd in Philly. It's been fun to watch all playoffs long. I wonder if Devin's going to the game, actually. Astros minus 190 on the series line. They're only minus 135 tonight. Little surprising considering the Phillies are kind of throwing a bullpen game out there. But Spencer, you looked into some props for this one as well.
Right, yeah, I kind of like, and Gabe actually pointed this out. Shout out to our guy Gabe Henderson about the Noah Syndergaard over 2.5 strikeouts. He brought up a good point about that. The Phillies, this would be tonight and the next game, they'll be set to make bullpen starts because basically Noah Syndergaard's operated as a long reliever. But I'm thinking he'll definitely go longer in this one than he has his past couple outings because with another bullpen start on tap for tomorrow, they're not going to want to go too deep into their bullpen tonight. So I'm thinking they let Syndergaard go at least 3 or 4 innings to where he should be able to rack up 3 or 4 Ks. So, yeah, over 2.5 on his K prop. I like that because as far as picking a winner tonight, I have no idea. I might as well flip a coin to me because with the weather, I heard might be bad, and it's just I don't know what to expect, man. This is a very interesting series.
Yeah, that's another factor. It's supposed to rain all night in Philly. And I think if this thing gets delayed or postponed, I should say, to tomorrow, that's a big advantage for Philly because the Astros have the pitching depth. They could play every day. The Phillies, the sooner they can turn back around to Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler, the better off they are.
Yeah, and I've said before, I got a ticket on the Phillies, so I'm obviously rooting for them, besides the fact that the Astros are one of my 2 or 3 most hated franchises in all of sports. So I'm rooting for the Phillies by all means, but I don't see it. I think that's good value in the Astros at minus 135. Lance McCullers against the bullpen. Give it to me. I'm going to probably go put money on it. I just don't see how if they play a full game or play tonight. And what you said, Zach, I think is spot on, especially if they start the game and then delay it and McCullers has to come out, then it's advantage Phillies for sure. You're in your own locker room. McCullers is going to have to come out because he was injured for the first half of the season anyway. So they're not going to risk putting him back out there if he has to sit for 45 minutes or an hour. But that being said, overall, I think you got to take Houston tonight.
Mattress Mac with $75 million on the line. Think he's nervous? He's giving away mattresses in Philly tonight. No, Philly's they got their split in Houston. That's all you want when you're the road team. Now you try to take 2 out of 3 at home and then go back and get another split and you win the series. So that's what you got to do. It'll be interesting though. Lots of rain in the forecast. So we'll see if they start on time or if they finish tonight or what goes on. In the meantime, a quick look at the Pelicans, who rolled over the Clippers yesterday. I'm kind of down on the Clippers this year compared to most, so I wasn't totally shocked by this. But look, I mean, the Pelicans are proving it over and over again. When Zion and Brandon Ingram's not even playing. Zion came back for this one, Spence. But the Pelicans are a legitimately at least top 6 playoff team in the West when they're healthy.
Yeah, I'd say so. They're proving their worth. With a healthy lineup, which, like you said, they're not even fully healthy. They're rolling these teams, and the Clippers aren't fully healthy either. But they did have Paul George back, so it's not like they were totally shorthanded. And Kawhi Leonard, it's like he's become like Michael Thomas or something. He can't basically got to expect him not to be there. So with the way the Pels, I'll just like their energy. They've got a good construction. Their roster construction is good. They've got enough vets, but so much youth. Like they've got a few vets, with CJ, Jonas, but a lot of youth to where this team could be scary. I know it's early. I don't want to overreact too much, but man, this is. I said it last week. You thought I was a little crazy, Zach, but I'm going to stick to it. Top 4 seed in the West.
I still don't think they're top 4, but I do. I listen. The better they play each week, the more you come around on that. But how about the schedule makers though? You give them a road game in LA on Sunday, then they get 2 days off and another game in LA on Wednesday.
And then they got to come home.
But I know that's
for one game.
But yeah, and that part's weird.
Strange.
They come home for one game and then they're on the road again. But like, if you're going to spend 2 off days in the city, there's not a whole lot of places you choose above LA at this time of year, especially. It's good. I mean, that's great.
Well, with their money, yeah. With our money, we'd be broke in 2 days.
Yeah, but we're talking about them. I'm not in it.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, they're living it up, I'm sure. And then they get the Lakers Wednesday. The Lakers can't get out of their own way, so that should be another dub.
Yeah, finally got a win last night over Denver.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, Zach, I think that's a good thing that they finally got that win out of the way. You don't want to play them when they're over.
That's true.
True. Get that win out of the way.
They got one win at least. So yeah, they don't like the Pelicans, so they'd have really been fired up if they'd had to play the Pelicans winless.
I don't know. I just don't like the Lakers team at all. Got them at 3-1 to miss the playoffs, and
oh man, why didn't you tell me about that bet?
I also got the Nets at 11-1 to miss the playoffs. By the way, so
come on, man. You got to share these bets.
Bet.NOLA TikTok page.
That's all I'm on TikTok.
Bet.NOLA TikTok page. Jim doesn't. That's what you're missing out, man. You got to get on the TikTok.
I'm telling you, I got to hear TikTok 4 hours a night. My wife with the.
Can she at least subscribe to Bet.NOLA?
No, it's about like how to cook lemon chicken, and it's just.
I'll even do a little dance.
How to clean the bathroom. That's the stuff that's over in words that I can't say on this family show.
So I got to bring Zoe in. Zoe's freaking out over here.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, she's a TikTok freak. It's all night long. That's all I hear. I'm trying to watch some kind of show, and all I hear is TikTok all night long. It's like flip.
Listen, I bet your wife is a lovely woman, but if she's looking up on TikTok to cook a lemon chicken,
no, I'm just kidding. She owned an Italian restaurant. It's just the first thing that came to my head, so she knows how to cook. But she does watch people. I don't understand these people. Like it'd be like me watching betting shows, teaching me how to bet.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I do.
Zoe's gonna get Jim in trouble here if we keep going with
this. She doesn't watch. We could say whatever we want. She won't know.
She can't cook.
I bet she's a great cook.
Well, I got hot dogs on the stove right now.
I had to bring Zoe in for a second. She's back there producing, and just all of a sudden just dropped her pen and lost it. Speaking of losing, yeah. All right.
Oh, Jesus.
Go at it. Have at it. Have at it.
The dunce cap. The dunce cap.
Had a Joker mask.
Really?
Had a Joker mask.
You're just gonna blow past my record from last year, and when I was just completely starting to goof off and trying to make weird picks. You're actually trying.
But it's funny you say that, Jim, because if you remember the first half of last year when you were trying, you kept saying
I was still only like minus 875. I got to go back and find out what I was this time.
Well, we started with
I wasn't minus 699 at this point in the season.
No, that's not mine. That's what the balance is.
I know. You know what I mean. So you're
minus.
We started.
I think we started with 2,000 last year. We'll have to look, but it's the same story where the bets I'm making have been fine. I haven't been a huge winner.
They haven't been fine. You've lost. How could they be fine?
No,
great bet. It's a great bet, Zach. You lost your ass this week, but great bet. Sorry.
I'm saying the bets that I'm making personally on my phone I have not been losing my own money, but the picks that I'm deciding to give out, I'm having trouble saying that's my favorite pick versus that's my favorite pick, which you were the same way with your best bets there for a while on big bucks.
Well, let me ask you, how do you?
It's my show, so you can't kick me off. Sorry.
And this is like I'm being completely serious. How do you decide which one's your best? I mean, do you bet? How many do you bet a week? Like for me,
I mean,
go ahead.
When I bet 1 unit on everything. I mean, everything is the same amount. And so that's
okay.
That's part of it.
I don't. I like that. I like that. I was arguing with my dad about this. Actually, he was telling me, "Oh, you should bet everything the same." Like, no, there's certain things I feel better about, so I'm going to put more units on it, like that Titans thing. But I
may go up to 2 units if I really like it, and then if it's a big payoff, like the Lakers 3-1 to miss the playoffs, I think I only put half a unit on that because the payoff is obviously going to be bigger. No, see, Kyle, you're just supposed to fade me. If you fade me, you've been making money.
And I only make probably the best bets, whatever my best bets are, I make those. And I probably only bet 1 or 2 other things. And they're small bets. I don't bet. I just, if I'm not sure, if I don't feel good, unless it's like Monday Night Football and I'm bored, I might put $10 on something if I don't feel strongly one way or the other. I mean, I feel strongly about tonight, so I actually have double. I have a money line bet and a spread on the Browns tonight.
The other thing is, I will make a series of bets on Monday for the following weekend when the lines first come out, and then I'll make a series of bets right before the games because all the injury news. Making bets on Thursday when we do big bucks is not my comfort zone, so that's part of it too. I mean, look, they've been bad. I'm not trying to say they're not, but I was fine last year. We will overcome.
Well, stop. And I know you're going to say, but I hit that one. Stop betting like Rutgers. I mean, again, you hit it. Great. But I mean, stop doing that kind of stuff.
Man, if Kyle,
you're not Devin Jackson.
His head is big enough, Kyle. Jesus.
It fits in the little screen there.
Yeah, barely. All right, let's wrap up Bayou Bets Halloween edition. A look ahead to next weekend, starting with college. Of course, the big LSU Alabama game in Baton Rouge. Other than that, though, look, the SEC's got a bunch. I didn't even put Florida A&M. Florida and A&M are both 1-4 in the SEC.
Jeez.
Which is amazing. But some other good games. TCU had a challenge last week. They go back home. Every game in the Big 12 seems like a challenge. I didn't put who does K-State play this week? They play Texas. That's a good, and Texas is actually favored in that game at K-State. So lots of interesting games here.
That's tricky. That sounds like they're begging you to bet on K-State.
Sounds like a trap.
That's trapper.
Yeah. I'm
not touching
Texas.
Mizzou this week, Kyle. I'm not touching them.
Yeah, Texas. I think that could be a value, and then I kind of like Tennessee +8. That's value to me.
That line opened on Sunday at like 11, and it's already moved down a field goal. So,
wow, yeah,
that game scares me.
It keeps moving.
That kind of, it's weird, and everybody's betting on Tennessee already. I guess big money is coming in on Tennessee. I might be one where I just enjoy it, stay away from it.
Yeah, I mean that'll be
how
one of
I feel
our
at
Carbo
LSU.
picks,
Bama.
It'll be interesting. I'll tell you what, double headers, 2:30 p.m. Tennessee, Georgia, 6 p.m. LSU, Alabama. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. It's going to be
unless you have to work.
Unless you have to work. Well, I'm going to be at the game, so I guess I'm working, but it'll be fun. And then in the NFL, Week 9, the Thursday night game is kind of a dud. Eagles at Texans. You got a couple of 13-point lines. Might not be as big a
dud as you think.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans better play a hell of a lot better than they played on Sunday. Jim, your first thoughts on these? I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Oh, well, then I wasn't going to say that, but I know since you said that, you think I'm going to say Titans, so I'm going to say Titans. I mean, that line is ridiculous. It absurd.
Opened 11 and has just moved up.
It is absurd. That line is absurd. I mean, the Titans should be 12.5-point favorite. I don't care if Simeon gets traded to the Titans and plays quarterback this week. That is a ridiculous line. They still have Derrick Henry. And the Chiefs' defense is nothing to write home about. So, I mean,
took the Chiefs at -10.5 when it first came out.
Look, I'm not laying that kind of points to a team like that. I just don't. There is another one that sticks out in front of me, and again, I may have to go through and I guess it's time you have to buy into the Seahawks now. The Cardinals aren't any good. I don't. That line should be pick 'em to me. So I think there's value. They're just looking at it. Again, I have not done my analysis yet. I may feel differently when I go through this starting tomorrow evening and into Wednesday. I spent all day Wednesday going through these things. So I may feel differently if I look at trends and see that the Seahawks hadn't, I don't know what their record is recently against Arizona. I don't know what the defense.
They beat them 2 weeks ago in Seattle. Now, and that's a weird one because Arizona was favored by 3 in Seattle. Now they're only favored by 2 in Arizona.
I just don't think Arizona's any good. And for some reason, the Sharps still kind of like that. They hate Minnesota, first off. Sharps hate Minnesota. They hate Minnesota and they hate Tennessee. So, and they hate the Giants. Those 3 teams they absolutely hate. And they love Jacksonville.
And the Colts.
Just like
they
you
love
guys.
The Colts.
They're finally backed off of the Colts. But so weird lines. There were some weird lines when I was doing them this morning. So it's going to be a fun and out. The good thing is there are 6 teams on a bye, so there are only 13 games this week, which makes it a little bit easier. You can spend a little bit more time with each one. So that means I'll probably stink.
Spencer Kyle pointed out the Bucs are favored over the Rams, and he said, "Why are the Bucs favored over anyone?" Well, the Rams are a mess. Also, what do you make of that one?
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams look pretty stinky, but I know they burned me last week. I said they'd bounce back, but I'm going to go back to the well with the Bucs here. I mean, the Rams, especially if Cooper Kupp doesn't play. He's day-to-day with it. I don't think it's a high ankle sprain, but it sounds like it is an ankle sprain where there's a good chance he doesn't go. And if he doesn't go, I don't see how the Rams do anything.
That's like an under game.
He's definitely an under
I agree,
game.
Jim. Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, the Bucs have Evans, Godwin, and Julio back now. To me, I don't see how they don't win. I mean, Brady could stink and they should still win.
Yeah, but Aaron Donald's absolutely licking his chops to go against that offensive line. He may have 3 sacks in that game. I mean, Tom Brady might get pounded into oblivion in that game. They're not going to be able to run. They're not even trying to run. I don't understand their offensive theory at all. They started to run the other night against the Ravens, then completely abandoned it. I mean, I had Fournette over 50 yards, and he had like 27 in the 23 early in the second quarter, and then he ran like twice more the rest of the game. I don't understand. And there are games when he only runs it like 5 times. I don't understand their game plan at all. They're horribly coached.
Kyle, our second viewer today to say the Falcons are going to win the NFC South. That game, December 17th at the Dome, may end up being a pretty important game, by the way. Falcons at Saints.
By
the way,
what's a 5-9 against 6-8?
Against 6-8 and the division title on the line, division lead on the line. By the way, Sean McVay's press conference for the Rams was during the show just about half an hour ago, and he says they do expect Cooper Kupp to be able to play on Sunday. So, if he's limited now, that could be another story.
Here's the thing: when you got, and again, I have not done my analysis. This is not my official pick. When you have 2 teams that are very similar to one another, and I think the Rams and Bucs are very similar. Obviously, Brady is better than Stafford in the grand scheme of things, but I'm going to take the better coach. And there's no question that Sean McVay, especially after coming off another butt whipping by the 49ers, I just don't think that you can't say anymore. The Bucs are, we got to get it together. I mean, when you get to this point, there's no more getting it together. You just stink.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Green Bay. I mean, I know they.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get off of them now.
They stink.
You got to get off of Green Bay. Although I do think they'll bounce back and beat the heck out of Detroit this week.
Who doesn't beat Detroit? Detroit was the media darlings of the offseason.
That's how stinky Green Bay looks right now. I think there's a decent chance Detroit upsets.
It's only a 3-point line.
The only thing that's scary about that, and we'll go into that later in the week, but Detroit, this I don't have to look up on trends. I know Detroit has actually played Green Bay very well and very tight over the past few years, and that's when Green Bay was good. So that line is fishy, and it probably won't make it a best bet. But I still think that if I like the fact that Aaron Rodgers looked a little bit different last night. He was a little bit more loose on the sideline. He had said he wasn't going back to Romeo Doubs and then did. Look, Alan Lazard needs to come back. They need to have some kind of weapons. They need to find a way to involve A.J. Dillon more. They tried to a little bit last night. That just wasn't the defense for them. Detroit's defense is terrible. Buffalo has one of the best defenses in the league. So it's not a surprise they weren't able to get a lot going. I think they're going to be able to move the ball. That's an over game because I think Green Bay is also going to allow points. That's going to be a fun game to watch, actually. But I think Green Bay is going to bounce back this week.
All right, we got to get out of here. But Monday Night Football tonight, Bengals and Browns. I say bet Bengals on the over. Jim says bet Browns on the under. The way it's been going, he's probably right. But
I don't love the under, though. Yeah, you say I love the Browns under. I'm not playing the under. I'm playing the Browns money line and the spread bigger. That makes sense.
I would not mind a Browns win because in my survivor pool, my $100,000 survivor pool, not a single player has been eliminated this week. But 2 people do have the Bengals tonight, so I would at least trim the field a little bit there.
Where are you taking us to dinner if you
win? To be decided. Look, it's still 119 people left. Less than a 1% chance still, so I'm not too excited yet. But
Zoe likes lemon chicken, from what I hear.
We'll discuss that as we get a little closer to it. So, also Saints Ravens next Monday night. We'll be back on Thursday at 4:00. Jim will have Datitude Thursday morning with his picks, and we'll be back 4:00 to preview the weekend: LSU, Alabama, and Saints Ravens. Until then, happy Halloween, everybody, and thanks for joining us.